Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Scrapbooking from the Heart. This is a series that we do every month, and it is based on more of a journaling style prompt than necessarily a sketch or anything like that. And our prompt this time was relaxation. We do get a mood board to work off of, but we are basically talking about relaxation and maybe about what you do for relaxation, maybe why you need relaxation, why it's important for your self-care, and what that looks like. So basically, I chose to document part of our trip to Kauai, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about in my journaling is that this trip was very relaxing. We didn't have a busy schedule. We had some things planned that we wanted to do, but there were only two things that were on the calendar in the whole week that we were there that had time frames that we had to do them in. The rest of it we kind of just did as we felt like we wanted to, and we kind of tootled around the island. We spent a lot of the time in our car just driving around sightseeing because the car was air conditioned and it was super hot and very humid there, and our condo didn't have air conditioning, so we felt like it was a really good way to enjoy the island and all of the scenery, but still be cool. And so I am documenting basically that. I do have all of these photos that are from the resort, that area that we were in. We were in the Princeville area, and we stayed at the cliffs. And so I'm just kind of documenting, our not really our whole journey, because I have lots of pages that go in this album talking about the specifics of things that we did. But in this particular case, I'm talking about how we chose to spend our time relaxing, and that a lot of it actually wasn't at the resort. It was in the car. But we actually did enjoy the resort as well. We didn't have we did go in the pool a couple times and that kind of stuff, but we didn't spend a lot of time just hanging out at the condo. But I wanted these scenery photos in here because it's just a really beautiful location. It was very relaxing. My husband would get up early in the morning. I'm not an early bird by any stretch, but he would get up early and sit on the lanai and have his coffee. I've got a photo of his coffee cup in there, and the birds would come right up to the edge of the grass and, make their morning visit. And so I just wanted to go ahead and document that. So what I did is I took my photos, and I have done this sort of layout before, but I'm basically framing the entire layout with my photos. And this particular photo, I had cut it a little bit. I cut the card 1/8 of an inch too narrow. So I went and I just cut that photo 1/8 of an inch narrower. And I'm just moving this other photo over next to it because the card that has the camera is tucked under, so it doesn't really matter if an 1/8 of an inch more shows on that camera or not. And I didn't want the saying on that green card that has the pineapple. I just wanted the pineapple to have that green color represented because it's also in the other two cards that I'm using. And I chose to put the camera at the top because there is a definitive line at the top of that card where the camera ends, rather than where this girl is sitting. It's a white card and I'm on white paper, so there was not really an end to it. And so I thought I will put her at the bottom because when I do the center part, you will definitely see that there is an end. It doesn't look like there's just a big white gap between the photos and then this little graphic of the girl sitting under the umbrella. And so now I'm looking for some paper that's going to go in the center of this frame of photos. And I think I'm going to stick with that piece that is on the left-hand side there. So I'm just looking for another piece of it. I really like those colors, the oranges and peaches. They kind of bring out more of the color of the pineapple and the flowers that are in the camera and the umbrella that is over the girl. And so I really like that. And I chose to go ahead and use that. And I wanted to pull out a piece that would kind of butt up to the left-hand side. And so if I use the right-hand side in one direction, they don't go well together because one side is much darker than the other. So I was conscientious about making sure that the two light sides, or the light side of the right-hand page, is all the way to the left so that it matches up with that left-hand page in color. And then in order to do my title, I went over to my Silhouette Cameo and I printed out the word, or I didn't print out, I cut out the word relaxation in black, and then I also cut it in white so that it would have a good shadow layer. So the black is the shadow and then the white goes on top. But I am going to color up the white portion to have some colors that work well with that background paper and the florals. So I'm going to use some oranges and yellows to do that, bringing in more of that kind of tropical sunset kind of a look. And I really like how this looks, and this is a great way to do a double page layout with a big bold title. Like I said, I have done this type of a layout before, but you know, they look different every single time you do them because your embellishment areas might be in different areas based on where your photos are. You might have something different than a large title. Maybe you have a smaller title and more embellishment in the center. And I don't know, it looks really cool, and I really like the way that it turned out. I did choose to have a white border all the way around the outside of the layout. Sometimes I have done it where the photos are all the way out to the edge, but in this case I really liked that there was a little bit of a border. And in order to do that, I just cut my photos down by just a tiny bit so that they would fit all the way around and leave that edge. And I didn't have to cut them a whole lot because you can just move them in a bit and have less room in the center. So that works as well. And I am leaving a little bit of room at the end of the word relaxation because I am using, or I'm adding the words the cliffs towards the end, but they're going to kind of like hang off of the word relaxation. So I needed to make sure I had enough room for that. So my white letters are on that Cricut sheet that you see there. I don't use a Cricut, I use a Silhouette Cameo, but I just happen to have a Cricut cutting mat. And so I am coloring these up with Abandoned Coral. I think that is Wild Honey. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Wild Honey. And then I am going to add in a little Twisted Citron Green just to kind of mellow out those two colors. I mean, it's still going to be bright, but the green just adds a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of a different color because there's so much green in the photos. I thought it would work well, but it doesn't read as really bright green once it goes over some of those colors that you see you see me putting down currently. And I just figured rather than pulling the letters off the mat and trying to color them, it's much easier just to color them while they're on the mat. That just made it really simple because I didn't have to worry about things curling up or catching the edges. And there you can see I'm adding a little tiny bit of the green, and I really like how it looks. And these blending brushes make life so much easier. You could use any blending brush. You could use a sponge dauber. It doesn't really matter. But I really do enjoy these blending brushes. And the ones that I'm currently using are the Tailored Expressions ones that come in a rainbow of colors. And the reason that I invested in those is because I kept picking up the wrong black one and putting it down on my paper because I didn't know what color was on it. And so I do have the black ones as well, and which I think are Picket Fence Studio. But I went ahead and invested in these color-coded ones just so I could, have an easier time of it. I certainly could have gone and color-coded my black ones by putting some washi tape on them or something like that, but I didn't think to do that before I ordered these, so this is what I have. So another thing that I really enjoy doing is in my title work, I really enjoy a big, bold title with a scripty title or scripty portion of the title over the top of it. And so in this case, I just chose to use At the Cliffs in a scripty font and in a much smaller font so that you can still read it. You still know it says relaxation, but it gives it visual interest, and it's just kind of a fun way to do your title work. So I'm kind of really into the title work at the moment. I think it adds a lot to the page, and You can get away with a little bit less embellishment because of that. And on a double pager, I feel like you get away with a lot less embellishment anyway, because you only, if you're doing three clusters like so many of us do, I just do 3 clusters on 2 pages rather than 3 clusters on 1 page. They're spread out more, and you know, it's still visually pleasing to the eye. So I do have these flare, it's epoxy flare from Scrap and Happy Studio, and I really like those, and I am going to go ahead and use those on my embellishment areas. I don't end up using those glasses. Those are from Just Not For Boys. I ordered those kind of as a standalone. I'm not a Kit Club member or anything of theirs, but they do have some really cool things. And so I just ordered those, and I have not obviously used them yet, but I'm saving them for a different layout because I didn't want to add wood to the other 2 areas, and I just felt like they would do better on a different page. So on this particular layout, I am just using those epoxy flare, and then I'm going to use some of these word stickers. I'm keeping it really simple, and I am going to pull out a stamp, and I'm going to stamp it on each of those cards just in black. I'm going to stamp that I think it's a palm leaf, that leaf, whatever kind of leaf it is. I'm going to stamp that in black, and that's going to be the base of my embellishment area. And while I do that, I'll just remind you that there's a list of people playing along for this hop down in my description box below. So check out everyone who is playing along. You'll get lots of interesting and neat ideas, and go and see what they have for you. So lots of inspiration. I am using a full, it's a Post-it note, but it's the back of the Post-it note is completely sticky, with the exception of like ½ an inch at the top. And so I'm just using that kind of to mask off the photos so I don't get that black ink on my photos. And it is an old Post-it note that has a list on it. I don't even know what is on the list, but so it was sitting on my desk, and I thought, oh, I'll just use that. So it came in very handy. Obviously there I'm using 2 of them. And then I am putting that down with some Catherine Pooler Midnight ink, which is just black, and it's black permanent ink. And I really like how that looks. I like the addition of the black because the title has the black in it. And I like that it brings in the stamps more, because I am trying to use my stamps more frequently. So I thought this was a good way to use them. And then I had some die cut leaves that I am bringing in, and those are from Elizabeth Craft Design, and they are from one of her planner sets, I believe. And so I just really like those. I had them already die cut. I didn't die cut them for the purpose of this layout, but they were in that little black box you see at the top of the screen, which is where I'm keeping all of the stuff for this trip. And so I just decided to pull those in for some added texture. And I like that they are not a solid leaf, so you can see everything that's underneath them. So that is pretty much going to do it for this layout. The close-ups are coming up in just a few moments. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, I would love it if you've given me a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you are, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I know there's tons of inspiration out there for you guys, so I appreciate that you're choosing to spend time with me today. And I know I say that periodically throughout my videos, but I just want to remind you guys that it does mean the world to me that you spend time on my channel. So here's the completed layout. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you found some inspiration and maybe a new way to do a 12 by 12 layout. And I will see you guys very, very soon. And the close-ups will be done in just a few moments. Again, thanks for watching. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.